Hello, I'm here with Martin Oberhauser. We are at UX Poland 2016 and we are at Copernicus Science Center. Hello, Martin.
Hi.
It's very, very good to have you here, and you just told us about some pretty amazing things that you have designed as either a contracted party or an expert who can join the conversation on certain subjects. I was pretty amazed by the work you did around the Tesla interface. Could you please tell us more about that?
Yeah, it's interesting that we get a lot of buzz around that. So it was totally self-initiated. It's not that, I think there was a little confusion around that. Some people thought that we actually had a contract or a request from Tesla, which was not the case. It was more that we found that at the time being, what Tesla was doing with their interface wasn't really state-of-the-art, whereas everything else they do really is state-of-the-art. So we felt that their user interface needs a makeover. And we just said, okay, we'll just take a few weeks of time and do that in our spare time mainly, to work on a concept for that. And the concept never had the idea to be like a perfect version ready for the mass market. It was really solely meant to be a concept and to look into what might be possible to do for an interface for them. So this is how it all started, and fortunately for us it made huge waves and a lot of people talked about it, and which is good because it showed you that apparently there is a demand to talk about it, that I'm not the only one who's bored or annoyed by the infotainment system in cars that are currently out there. And I think that there already is something happening in the car industry to improve that, but there could definitely be done more, and talking to UI, UX experts is a great step.
Mm-hmm. I'm especially interested about that case that you probably get a little tired of talking about, because for me it's an important voice in this discussion whether the products we buy are truly owned by us. Because with the breaking of Nest that Google announced, and those discussions, if you can dismantle a phone that you purchased from certain company, we kind of feel like we're just buying a license, and it's kind of expensive license.
Yeah.
While you actually took things in your hands and showed how to make something better, or a direction for improvement. What do you think? Is this direction going to last, or will the trend absorb more control over the products that we apparently rent from the companies?
I think and I hope that we'll see more and more open platforms where the community can design for and develop for. And actually Tesla is a good example, not about the UI, but they made a lot of their patents available for everyone out there because they want to speed up the process of building electric cars, which is great. And this is what happens when you open your platform to the community, that it's just going faster and people are starting to play with it and iterate. And of course there's always, it's always a little scary too, because there is a chance that you lose control and you can't keep up with your high standards maybe, so that's the downside of that. But on the other hand, I think that things are moving so fast that it'll be hard to stop that, this idea of having open platforms and having everybody design for it and evolve for it.
We're talking a lot about responsibility, and I wonder how you understand the responsibility being a designer, and how would you word some simple principles for maybe ethical approach to our job?
That's a big question, though, because ethical, of course, is huge. I'd say it totally depends on the kind of project you're working on. Your responsibility varies with that. Working on something like Tesla is a good example for a really high responsibility, because you're designing something for a car that could actually kill people, because it's just such a huge piece. So it's really important that your design serves the needs perfectly, so that you don't distract the driver too much. So because he might be distracted from your design and end up crashing the car. This is not as dramatic when you design like a small mobile app for, I don't know, sharing a photo. You can't kill someone with that. I think it definitely varies with the projects. But since UI and UX designers get into those areas more and more, that's also true for like huge machines or all kind of areas where now interface and user experience design is taken over. That means we become more and more responsibilities as designer that we have to be aware of.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how do you feel the perspective of your office, of your state is in the middle of UX trends right now, or do you feel that here in Europe we have slightly different approach or different capabilities, or maybe the cultural capital of the area makes us approach things somehow different? Because we've been talking with other people, and they were either pointing to some variables that change, and others were saying that more or less we are in the same conversation, heading in the same direction. I'm curious how you feel about that.
We're based in Germany, so we're based in the heart of Europe, but still work with a lot of US companies, where you could probably argue that the US is a little bit on the forefront there, which is true to some degree, which is also due to the reason that they just have the budget to invest in that area and to spend money on it. But I think that the understanding is pretty much the same. I mean, just the fact that there are companies from the US asking a European studio to work for them tells you that apparently there can't be that big of a difference. Mm-hmm. And same is true the other way around. There are more and more companies and startups coming up in Europe who also have great ideas and are on the edge. So I feel like a good UI UX design is valid throughout the world and should work everywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, you can argue that in some cultural circumstances, this definitely has an impact. I mean, speaking of Asia, where you have a completely different language and different style of typography and so on, that's probably a little different. But at least in that Western world, I think it definitely works throughout. But I also still believe that a UX should work worldwide, no matter which language you're speaking.
We right now we are looking about a big wave of new devices. Right now, some look just like innocent gadgets. Some are here to stay. Some will wash away. Is there something you are especially excited about? I mean, wearables, beacons, Internet of Things. Obviously, I would guess you would have a special place in your heart for motorization and self-driving cars. But when you're looking at ecosystems that will be absorbing those things and that will be around us, what do you think is going to be most significant?
Well, of course, it's hard to predict, because if I knew what will stick around, I'd probably invest in that area. I mean, since we work with a wearable company, we're working with Whoop, which is a Harvard-based startup who does a fitness tracker, but for professional athletes. So really gathers physiological data about your heart rate and your heart rate variability, and really measures how much strain you put into your body and those things. That's really exciting, and this is where I know a little more about, just because we've been working with them for such a long time now, and I understand how valuable that is, and I see it with our users that it really has an impact for them and can change their behaviors. So I think this is something that is really important and will last. It's just a matter of how that'll evolve. If it will stay a bracelet, or maybe even be something that is more attached to your body, or a different spot of your body. We'll see about that. But just the idea behind that empowering professional athletes with something like that, I'm pretty sure that is here to stay, and then it'll be hard to stop. Another thing that I think is interesting, I mean, you mentioned, of course, cars. I mean, self-driving cars, that is definitely interesting, and I'm really curious how that'll go, and that's also, again, really hard to foresee. but it'll be hard to stop as well. Another thing is home security is pretty interesting because we have another client, a startup out of Berlin called Bodyguard, and they have a smart device that sits in your home and controls your home, and but it's really smart in the case that they can detect your face, detect your voice, and you don't really have to interact with it that much. It's really, most of the stuff it does automatically, and it just
makes
takes
sure
care.
You are you.
Yeah, exactly. And you only interact with it if there's actually something going wrong, or if you have to pay attention because there's someone in your house that shouldn't be there, or something like that. And it's really affordable, and it's really easy really easy to install and put it on the wall. And even for offices, it's really great to have something like that for small offices. Other than like buying a huge alarm system that is tied to, I don't know, all kind of technology in your house that is really expensive as well. So I think that is definitely also a big field that'll catch up, this home security area.
Really interesting. Okay, that really sounds amazing. Thank you very much for being here with us. Thank you for contributing to UX Poland and sharing with us, and thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for having me.